We're back for another LMU Traxion Track Guide, and today's venue is the Holy Grail, the Circuit de la Sarthe, home of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and it's quite a long one, so let's dive straight in. All of the usual ground rules apply here. Arnage is driving with saturated grip, using the Ford Mustang to set a 3-minute 59.742, and the only setup tweaks from the Coach Dave Academy preset, aside from fuel load, was reducing the maximum brake pedal force to 92%. A big thanks, as always, to Thrustmaster for sponsoring this lap guide series. Now, let's get on with it. Heading towards turn 1, drift over from the middle of the road and use all available space on the left, both the curb and the green runoff area. Just before you reach the white line, marking the pit lane exit, haul the car over towards the inside right curb, easing slightly off the throttle to keep the car balanced and on the correct line as you hit your apex. This should leave you towards the right hand side for braking into the Dunlop chicane. Brake hard and in a straight line, halfway between the two white lines that sit right of the curb. Down to second gear, turn in just before the grass area on the right meets the green concrete, easing off the brake pressure a fair amount as you begin turning in, just to avoid understeer. The biggest priority here by far is your exit from the chicane, rather than your entry speed, so it's vital that you hit the striped curb with your left front wheel. Stay tight to the left through the first section, which will open out the right-hander when you switch direction, using a bit of throttle as you do so. First or second gear is fine, whichever you prefer, but if your line and speed is good, you should be able to squeeze back on the accelerator through the right-hander. Aim to put your right front onto the yellow anti-cut curbs, but watch out for the inside bollard, which will trigger track limits. You don't need to be full throttle all the way through, but a little lift should suffice if your line is correct and you have successfully prioritised the exit. Speaking of the exit, run over the curb onto the green concrete, but keep your right wheels inside the white line to avoid a penalty. Use the shortest line down the first part of the Esses, keeping it pinned and holding the car to the right in preparation for the left. A quick brake down to third, then second as you ease off the brake and coast in towards the apex curb. Don't use much of the curb, just kiss it, using the flow of the camber, and get back on throttle as the curb ends. Keep the car moving left, and as you shift from second back up to third, throw the weight back the other way, aiming to hit the end of the inside curb with your front right on full throttle. Naturally, you will drift left and end up near the edge of the road. Just try to stay inside the exit curb if you can, as it does fall away a little and can push you out into the dirt. For Tertre Rouge, it's all about exit speed onto the Mulsanne. Mount the curb on the left before turning in. There is no clear reference points here, it's a fast corner and all about feel, but the main thing is to sacrifice a little bit of speed on entry in order to nail the apex curb at the correct angle. So it's a quick dab of the brakes, staying in fourth, then off the brakes as you ease the car in, aiming to ride over the left edge of the yellow anti-cut curbs with your right front wheel. This line will essentially allow the car to hop over the striped curb and grip up nicely on landing. Then, once you're over it, get back on full throttle, letting the car run out over the stripy exit curb and slightly onto the yellow anti-cuts. It is legal to cross the white line here slightly with your inside tyres, so make the most of it, as exit speed is everything. Tertre Rouge is an amazing corner, but it takes time to master, so pay close attention to Arnage's brake and throttle inputs on the way into the corner, as well as his line. You can see that patience is key, and practice will certainly pay off with this one. Take a well-deserved breather down the Mulsanne, and one small bit of clarification here. There are often myths that straddling the white line in the middle of the road increases your speed, but Arnage tested it and found literally zero benefit, so now you know. Drift left as you approach the Daytona Chicane. The perfect braking point is between the orange Armco and the 100 meter board, edging slightly closer to the 100 board. Use most of the tarmac left of the dotted line, braking hard and shifting down to second as you trail brake into the first apex curb, gently releasing the pressure as you reach it. Use all of the curb on the right, then squeeze on the brake again slightly and head for the left-hand curb, using all of that up to the first bollard. Once past, squeeze back on the throttle, and naturally you should end up drifting right over the white line. Track limits are a bit vague here, but it's actually legal to fully cross the white line with your left wheels, only just. Any further and you will get a penalty, so I would use the white line as the reference for your left sides, and the right edge of the curb as the reference for your right sides. Another run down the Mulsanne is next, and this time you drift right in preparation for the Michelin Chicane. Brake hard at the 100 meter board, using the track on the right, and as you ease off the brake pedal, aim to fully straddle the left-hand curb in third gear, a similar technique to the previous chicane, but at a slightly higher speed. Then it's another quick dab of brakes and down to second before shifting the weight for the right-hander. The next curb is a bit more aggressive, so use it, but watch out for an unwelcome bounce and be patient with the throttle. On exit, limits are strict, so keep your right wheels on the white line, don't let them cross it, and use the left curb with your left front, but again, don't cross over it. For Mulsanne Corner, use the point where the central white line ends as a reference for turning in, and then brake as you cross the faded dashed black line. This allows you to straighten the braking zone, fully leaning on the ABS and heading towards the outside of the circuit, using the additional tarmac before the gravel on the left. Downshifting to first, haul yourself over to the right late in the braking zone, easing off the pressure and using the inside curb as much as you can. The key here is getting the rotation and being on the throttle early, running out to the exit curb, and using the tarmac strip beyond it. It's then the longest flat out run on the circuit, just straight line it where possible and try not to pull a Peter Dunbrek. Head left towards Indianapolis, making the track as wide as possible by using all of the green concrete on entry. It's a small lift and even a slight nudge on the brake pedal just before you head for the apex curb here. You don't gain time through Indianapolis, but you can certainly lose it, or indeed the car, so be gentle on the way in and focus on stabilising things before the heavy braking. Keep the car balanced, either using a bit of curb or driving around it slightly, and then once you've straightened things up on the right hand side of the circuit, jump on the brakes. After passing the short entry curb on the right, ease off the brake pressure and head for the apex, looking to kiss the inside curb. Once through, it's back on the throttle and out onto the exit curb. You can even use a little bit of gravel here without consequences. Drift left for Arnage, braking just before the 50-metre board. Aim to put your left tyres left of the curb, if your car's ride height can handle it like the Mustangs can. The end of the curb marks the perfect turn-in point, so shifting to first, ease off the brake, touch the inside curb, and then power out towards the exit, opening out the steering and using the curb and the green runoff if needed. Shorten your run through the kinks, and prepare for what is, in my personal opinion, the best sequence of corners anywhere in the world, the Porsche Curves. Drift all the way over to the left, placing your car over the top of the green concrete patch, and brake as you reach it. If you brake too hard here, you will easily lose the rear, so be gentle with your inputs and trail brake towards the apex, shifting down to fourth. You want to get close to the stripy curb, but don't fully mount it as it can destabilise the car, just coast around the edge of it. As you power out, don't let your car run all the way over to the left. Try and keep it in the middle or even slightly right of centre, so that you can keep the power down and still make the apex for the left-hander. Even if you do run a bit wide through here and compromise your line, you can still safely make it round the left-hander. You'll just need to lift off the throttle a bit more as you reach the inside curb, but doing this is perfectly okay too, so don't worry about big lap time loss. Get your direction change done just before you reach the orange marking on the armco on the right hand side, throwing your car into the left-hander under power and aiming to mount the stripy curb on this occasion. If you're carrying the right speed, you should naturally run out near the wall on exit, but you don't necessarily need to worry about keeping the throttle fully pinned here. This corner leads straight into another left-hander, so easing off throttle slightly as you exit this one will protect your tyres and give you a little more breathing room when you naturally run out towards the blue outside wall, without costing you a lot of lap time. Immediately on exit, power into the next left-hander, easing slightly off the throttle again to avoid understeer, but being smooth to avoid oversteer. And again, this will lead naturally into another right-hander with an immediate direction switch. You want to brake a little for this part of the sequence, shifting to third as you reach the start of the stripy curb. Sometimes, if the balance isn't quite right, this touch of the brakes can cause a rear end snap, and your best bet for saving it is to fully smash the brake pedal when this happens, allowing the ABS to kick in and straighten out the car, which will send you wide, as opposed to a race-ending spin. Run the car all the way around the white line, hugging the apex like you would your favourite grandmother, balancing the car and the trajectory with a bit of throttle, as and when you need it. You should still be all the way to the right when you reach the end of this corner, allowing one last big direction change into the left. After a small lift or even a tiny dab of the brakes, aim to smash the inside curb, using a bit of the yellow anti-cuts inside of the curb with your left wheels as you squeeze back on the throttle. It's easy to run too wide here on exit and invalidate your lap, especially if you miss that previous apex, so it's crucial to get your line right and keep your left wheels inside the white line on exit. This will take a bit of patience and practice at first to find the rhythm, so do bear that in mind. Straight line the following kinks and open up your entry to the Ford Chicane by placing your right wheels over the pit lane entry line. Just make sure you come back to the left in time as the curb rises and becomes a bit sketchy. Start braking just before you reach that curb, down to third, and feel free to use a lot of the inside curb and even a bit of the anti-cuts on the inside. However, for the right hand section, as you squeeze on the brake to pull the car in, be more careful and take less curb. If you take too much, you will launch the car and it can send you wide. A quick squeeze back on the throttle, pulling you over to the right, then it's back on the brakes just before the start of the entry curb as you switch direction for the second chicane, shifting down to second to help the rotation. This is a tricky entry. You're better reaching the apex early rather than late, as you want to prioritise your exit speed from the second part. Use the anti-cuts on the left, keeping your right wheels on the black stuff, and then as you throw your car over to the right, use a small bit of the raised red curb, not too much as it is very aggressive, or avoid it completely and try to focus on getting the power on as early as possible, opening your steering and using all of the green concrete on the left to maximise your speed. When aiming for the podium in Le Mans Ultimate, you want a wheel that you can rely on, something with constant torque, something that doesn't break the bank. Something like this Thrustmaster T598 from today's video sponsor. Thanks to a distinctive direct axial drive setup, it provides 5 Nm of force consistently, plus a unique ability to overshoot this during high tempo scenarios. There's also a lack of cogging seen with some other wheels for more lifelike responses. You can find out more by clicking the link in the description or scanning the QR code on screen now. Congratulations, you have completed a lap of La Sarthe. Few things feel more satisfying, and equally, few things feel more frustrating than a last corner lap invalidation that ruins both the lap you're finishing and the one you're about to start. Anyway, here is the full uninterrupted lap. You will truly fall in love with this circuit once you get the hang of it, but that process isn't easy. The length of the straights can cause a lot of impatience and frustration when learning it, because it takes time, but the reality is that despite the lap length, there really aren't that many more corners to learn than usual. Pay close attention to the flow of the racing line, the throttle and brake inputs through the numerous direction changes in the final sector, and the track limits, as lots of time can be gained by knowing exactly where that limit is. Here are some lap time targets for you to chase. Urine's platinum lap was a 3:59.7 if you managed to break the 4-minute mark. Fair play. Our gold target time is a 4:03.0, silver is a 4:05.5, and bronze a 4:08.0. Now time for a 10-second summary. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, sleep. Right, left, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, finish. Let us know how you get on in the comments below. Subscribe for more track guides in future, and as always, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a great day.